state regime media, which calls itself Fox News, has been panicking in total collapse mode after the federal judge ruling dismissing the James Comey and Letitia James indictment. Fox realizing that all the BS it fed its viewers is just that, utter BS and Trump regime propaganda. Let me show you what went down when Fox had to admit to its audience that the Comey and James case had been dismissed because the Trump stooge Lindsay Halligan was an unlawful interim prosecutor who didn't belong in the room and nobody else showed up with her. Here, play this clip.
Lindsay, forgive me, but we have some breaking news. We'll come right back. A Fox News alert. The case against former FBI Director James Comey is getting dismissed. The judge ruling the appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan violated the Constitution. The judge also criticized the DOJ for allowing an FBI agent who viewed Comey's privileged materials to testify to the grand jury. Now, the judge also tossed the case against Letitia James.
And then the way Fox tries to cope with it is they bring on this other analyst, and I put that in quotes very generously, and said, oh, this is just a fluke. It just seems to be all of these side rulings that are happening. Here, play this clip.
When it comes to that issue.
Right. Do we foresee at all then an appeal or a different then prosecution, a second bite of the apple then with procedural things intact?
I would just, I mean, yes, it's a 29-page opinion. I was just reading through it. So sorry if I look distracted during our segment. It doesn't get to the claim of malicious prosecution that Jim Comey was making. So this is solely the appointments clause, and that's why you have both cases dismissed against both individuals.
Right.
And it is kind of interesting, though, because obviously that's kind of a fluke side ruling, not on the merits of the case. But it is kind of interesting how all of these fluke side rulings always tend to seem to go in the same direction.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I want to give you
Really? Not sure that dismissing a case because it was illegally brought with a fake prosecutor is a side ruling, but go ahead and cope. So then Fox has to bring in one of their other legal analysts, and I put that in quotes again. And then he goes, what we really need to focus on here is that Obama now might be indicted. So let's forget about James and let's forget about what just went down with Comey. Obama, everybody, the big one, for real. This is what they were talking about on Maria Bartiromo this morning. Let's play this clip.
Anyone who politicizes and weaponizes intel agencies and law enforcement to go after their political enemies for non-crimes has committed a very serious crime, conspiracy against rights under 18 USC Section 241, and this goes all the way to the top of the Obama administration. President Obama, Vice President Biden, Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Jack Smith, Jay Bratt, Andrew Weissman. There are so many dirty actors in this ongoing criminal conspiracy against rights. These people must be held accountable. I know that the new Miami U.S. Attorney has opened up a grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, that's going to be impaneled in January. And I would tell these lawfare Democrats they better lawyer up.
Do you really believe that Obama is going to get indicted?
Presidents have presidential immunity for their official acts. At a minimum, he could be named as an unindicted co-conspirator.
And then they had to kind of further lie, which they do every day, to its audience. So Bartiromo then brings in MAGA Republican Congress member Tom Emmer, right? And so one humiliation after the other. By the way, we learned today that the Trump regime canceled the report on third quarter GDP. They just are not publishing it. Okay, so as the American, they just said, we're not publishing it. Okay, so while the American people are suffering right now, while they're not publishing that data, Fox brings on Tom Emmer, MAGA Republican Congress member, who says, but everything's great, folks. Prices are way down. Groceries are down. This is the cheapest things have been. The opposite? The opposite? Here, play this clip.
Midterm elections, Congressman. I mean, now everybody's talking about affordability. Are you going to be able to convince the American people that, in fact, costs are coming down? Do you want to see President Trump cut tariffs at this point on some of the things that he's talking about? He said he's going to start cutting tariffs on certain things like coffee from Brazil, et cetera.
Groceries are down. Gas is at a 5-year low that you put in your car, Maria.
Yeah, that's good.
And you still have the permanent tax policy that will take effect in January. No taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security. These are the marquee items that Donald Trump ran on that have actually been delivered. And look, they destroyed this economy under Joe Biden for 4 years. Donald Trump has been there for less than a year, and he is already showing progress. Get ready for 2026. I believe it's going to take off, and we will be in a great position for the midterms because Americans will realize that exactly what they voted for when they voted for Donald J. Trump last November, and Republicans in the House and the Senate, promises made have been promises kept. And this is the future is going to be much brighter a year from now.
All right, Congressman Tom Emmer in fighting form. I love it. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Then Tom Emmer goes on and says, and look, don't worry, everybody. You may get a $2,000 check from Donald Trump right around the corner, everybody. Again, this is what they do. This is what con artists do. Just you wait. Next year, you may get that Doge dividend check, even though Doge does no longer exist. It may be a tariff rebate check, everybody, even though Trump's unlawful tariffs against the world, which resulted in inflation surging, is likely going to be overruled as well. Anyway, play this clip of Emmer.
Concerned about the national debt, the way John Barrasso is concerned, what is the likelihood that that passes $2,000 checks to individuals next year, Congressman?
Well, first off, you got to love this president. He looks at this like a business. And when the business is doing well, the shareholders, which are the American people, should be rewarded. How that turns out, we'll see where the president wants to go with it. But the real issue, it is the debt. $37 trillion in debt and growing, Maria. We have to continue to address this, which is why the appropriations process is so important. You can't allow Biden-era spending to continue.
Then they bring on, do you see what they're doing here? What a disastrous morning. Then they bring on Brooke Rollins, the agriculture secretary, and she has to speak in front of a graphic showing that farm earnings are down 6% this year. And then she's like, but it's Biden's fault. Here, play this clip.
Farm income is forecasted to fall by about $9 billion, a 6% decline from 2024. Joining us now is the U.S. Agriculture Secretary, who has her hands full on a daily basis, Brooke Rollins. Great to see you, Madam Secretary. Could you tell me what's in this deal, or what you're capable of telling us? Because I know it's a week away.
Well, here's what I would say is that we are still confirming all the formulas. Every day is different, the numbers coming in. But I want to take a step back, if you don't mind. When we talk about our farmers, this is the backbone of America, right? This is the pioneer spirit that made this country so great. Only 2 of every 10 years do farmers actually make money. And that's an astonishing number. Any other business, you wouldn't have a lot of people stick around, but these men and women they just feel this righteous work to feed and fuel the country is so important. Then you combine that with the years under Joe Biden, with the cost of inputs, interest rates went up 73%. Labor, 47%, fuel, 35%. Then there were no new trade deals in those 4 years under Joe Biden. We went from a surplus of agriculture trade under Trump 1 to a deficit, a $50 billion deficit. So we're in this perfect storm, and that's what the president is committed to solve.
You ever have that moment where you fall in love with something online, a couch, a jacket, lamp, and then you see the price tag and immediately feel personally attacked? Yeah, that's where dupe.com basically saved me. I tried to buy a nice lamp that was way too expensive, and dupe.com found me the exact same look for a fraction of the cost. It honestly saved me a ton of money. I'm obsessed with Dupe because it fixes that sticker shock moment instantly. Have you ever found the perfect couch or lamp online, then that sticker shock reminds you it's out of reach for your budget? That's why I use Dupe, because it's simple. You just type dupe.com / before any product URL, and Dupe instantly shows you similar and more affordable alternatives. It's perfect for finding the best deals on your holiday shopping. And these aren't sketchy knockoffs. The truth is, most products you see online, from furniture to fashion to gadgets, are mass-produced in the same factories. Brands just slap on different labels and markups. Dupe surfaces those same pieces for way less so that you're not overpaying just for a name. That $5,000 sofa, $1,200 designer handbag, or $800 statement light fixture you've been eyeing, Dupe finds them or something nearly identical for a fraction of the price. It's no wonder Dupe has gone viral on TikTok. Millions already use it to save thousands, sometimes 60, 70, even 80% off, and it's totally free. This holiday season, Dupe is giving away 1 million Dupe points, and you can turn those points straight into gift cards. You earn Dupe points just by shopping with Dupe. No payment, no catch. And want even more? Share Dupe with friends. They save, you earn, everybody wins. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, the first 10,000 people who go to dupe.com/Meidas will get 500 Dupe points instantly. Redeemable for gift cards. No catch. But spots are limited, so do not wait. That's dupe.com/Meidas for 500 free Dupe points today. Use your points and gift cards to make the most of your holiday shopping. Go to dupe.com/Meidas. MEIDAS.
All right. So, when Fox is spiraling out of control, they got to bring in Lutnick. They bring in Mr. ShamWow, Howard Lutnick himself. And Howard Lutnick says, the American people know how great the tariffs are. It's been so great for everybody. Here, play this clip.
The president is also working on this potential proposal to send out checks of $2,000, dividend checks. There's an analyst I spoke with over the weekend who believes that it's unlikely unless we see a second reconciliation package passed in 2026. What's your expectation, Secretary, in terms of a second reconciliation bill or a standalone $2,000 check program to go out?
Look, the tariffs are an American policy. The president wants the American people to understand how great tariffs are for them. And so one of the ways to prove to the American people how great tariffs are is to have them share in a part of 1 year's income from these tariffs. And that's $2,000 a head, as he said, for people who need the money. He's going to constrain it to people who need the money. And that's exciting. So the president's got that on his desk. I know that's something he wants to achieve, and his legislative team will figure out the best way to do it. But what he's trying to do is make sure people in America understand that tariffs are their policy. It's to make America stronger, and it can also benefit their pocketbook. And that is coming next year from the president.
Yeah, for sure. But the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says that those payments will cost roughly $600 billion each round and increase the deficit by $6 trillion over a decade. The White House preparing, of course, backup plans in case the Supreme Court rules against the president and the emergency powers on tariffs.
It's one thing after another. Then they bring in MAGA Republican Congressmember Mike Lawler from New York. And he's been, at the forefront attacking Mamdani. It's like Donald Trump says Mamdani's a communist, this, that, and the other. And then Donald Trump was like fawning over Mamdani. So Lawler has to show up and he's like, look, at the end of the day, he's going to give Mamdani a shot. Trump's a reasonable guy. I'm a reasonable guy. And then the host is like, Varney goes, but Donald Trump he goes, but Mamdani called him a fascist yet again. And then Lawler's like, Trump loves being called names. We know that Trump is insensitive when you call him names. Okay, Lawler, here, play this clip.
I think the president is going to give Mayor-elect Mamdani a little bit of leeway here and see how he does, see the policy decisions that he makes. If he starts to backslide towards his previous rhetoric and previous policy proposals that he's put forth, including defunding the police, shutting down the gang database, for instance.
Well, he's called him a fascist, Congressman. He doubled down on it. He said, he called him a fascist. He called the president a fascist again on Sunday.
Yeah, look, I don't think the president really cares what he's gets called. I think that much is clear. The president's been called a lot of things.
And then they bring in Lutnick again. And Lutnick's like, I was there. I watched the Supreme Court argument. The Supreme Court loves Donald Trump's tariffs. This guy's, no, they don't. And they're likely about to shut down Donald Trump's tariffs against the world as well. And Lutnick, wasn't your company at one point that you separately run with your kids? Weren't you buying the right to recover tariff rebates or to recover tariff refunds if the Supreme Court overrules Trump's tariffs against the world, where you were offering companies less money to buy their rights to the refund so that when the tariffs were overruled, your kid's company basically, or one of the subsidiaries, runs to the Treasury, runs to the Commerce Department and says, we want the full refund. Anyway, here, just play this clip of him.
Sure, what is the backup plan should the Supreme Court rule against you?
Well, we are going to win the case. It's pretty clear. I sat in the Supreme Court. We're going to win the case. But the fact is the president has all sorts of policies and tools throughout. He's got tariff rules of 232 in my department. He's got 301. He's got 338. Tariffs are going to be a part of this administration's national security and national economic protection of the American people. But we are going to win the case. So you can worry about the backup plan, but you're going to watch the Supreme Court back this president, because this president has proven that he can protect America, and IEPA is protecting America. So we are going to win this case. You heard it from me. I feel confident. I sat through the case. We are going to win.
Yeah, you were there.
Then more ridiculous propaganda from Lutnick. He's like, the best part about America is Donald Trump in office. Oh, okay, Lutnick, here, play this clip.
What I'm really getting at is China, because I know there's a massive race to win this AI race. And then, of course, we've got this soft war underway with regard to trade with the Chinese Communist Party. Do you think that there's going to be any movement in terms of President Trump allowing those chips to get to China?
Well, the best part about America is we have Donald Trump in the Oval Office. He's listening to everybody. He's going to think about it. He listens to Jensen from NVIDIA, but he listens to all sorts of other executives, and they all bring these opinions together. And Donald Trump's going to decide what chips, if any, we sell to China. That's on the president's desk. He's going to decide how he wants to take care of it. And that's the benefit of having Donald Trump be the president of the United States, is he's making that decision with advice from everybody. And that's the best part about being in America. You got the best president, the best deal maker. He understands how he wants to play it, and we'll leave it in his hands.
So we'll wait for any.
So then they bring on Sean Duffy. Like, can you believe it's just one clown after the other? I mean, you can believe it now. We've been reporting on this regime now way too long. So they bring in Sean Duffy, and Sean Duffy's asked by Fox. So it seemed like the Biden administration, they were pushing a lot more for passenger rights on airplanes, like refunds, and so that the airliners can't cheat the people. So what are you doing here? And then Duffy's like, we have a much more common sense approach where we take into account what the corporations really want, because we think that the Biden administration was too nice to the consumers. Here, play this clip.
I want to ask you about something else. During the Biden administration, there was this push for greater passenger rights. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to have the airlines compensate people, give the money if there was a delay, if there was a cancellation. But that is something that the Trump administration has said they do not want to do.
Well, we took a more common sense approach to it. If your flight is canceled and you're stuck, you're flying through Newark and you're stuck here, well, we think the airline should actually refund your flight or put you up in a hotel, give you a meal. But if they changed your flight number and it's going to fly at the same time, that doesn't count as a cancellation, and they don't have to refund you. And so we just want to have the right balance between the airlines and the passengers. And you all know that if you have all these passenger rights that are dinging airlines left and right, some where they should be dinged, but sometimes they should not be sanctioned, well, just the price of tickets are going to go up. So what is the right balance? And I think the last administration, the guy that sat in the seat was trying to run for president. I'm not running for president. So what I'm doing is saying, how do we have the balance between the airlines and the passenger and make sure it's fair for both?
Do you realize whether you're red state, blue state, or purple state, you're likely a consumer and you're getting screwed by these policies? But don't worry, folks. Duffy's got a plan. He wants to make sure that everybody dresses up much more nicer. They should wear suits and dresses when they go on airplanes. That's top of mind in the Trump regime, that you should dress up in suits and gowns and dress beautifully when you enter the airplanes. Here, play this clip.
Going out or coming in, but I think we have to think about, how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive.
Have you been on an airplane recently? They squish you into these little seats. How about when they make all of the seats look like first class and they make flying affordable, and everybody can have a lovely time? Then we'll wear suits. How about that? When you protect the consumer rights, when everybody can have a first class experience that they can enjoy, then we'll wear suits, Duffy. How about that? Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. We appreciate you.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.